5 ways to build that physique that will get you chosen. Yes, we are talking about 5 things. If you stick to them, you will have that physique that turns her into a freak. Y'all know the deal. It's basically O, aka Cole Brown Official. We start at number 5 and we go down to number 1. So number 5 is something I always do every couple of months. It's focus on my weak points. You know, I really reflect, look at myself, okay, what do I need to work on? And these past couple of weeks, I've really been hitting shoulders more than ever before. And I started training my neck. Now, I did a little bit of neck training in the past. You know, there was like this machine in my boxing gym, but I never really took it too seriously. And, you know, I was looking at some photos and I said, Cole, you really could, you know, add some size to your neck. So started hitting neck more. And see, you got to be real with yourself. You got to take a couple steps back and look at yourself and say, where am I lacking? You know, and even when I got compliments from people, like I've been complimented by guys that do bodybuilding and stuff like that, they tend to compliment, oh, you got a nice chest, you got nice triceps. So what are they not complimenting? That's what I really reflected on. And even when I had haters, you know, people come for my shoulders and stuff like that. Even though I have better looking shoulders than the vast majority of Americans, it's definitely not up to par like the rest of my body. So I know that, you know, so started hitting shoulders more. Started hitting neck, and a nice neck can really change your body. Some people have naturally bigger necks, but some people do have that little scrawny pencil neck. If you start training your neck, it can really change the way you look. And you definitely want to be careful. You definitely don't want to rush it. Don't be using too much weight if you're using weight. Go very light. Make sure to tuck your chin in when you're hitting the movements, you know. Have your head leaning off the end of the bench. Go forward, backwards, you know, then do each side. But yeah, you really don't have to go heavy at all. And you really don't have to do too many reps. You know, usually I do 2 sets of like 15. And I do like very lightweight. I might do it with a 5 pound, you know, 5 pound, even 2.5. It just depends on where you are, but you definitely don't want to rush it, because if you hurt your neck, that's really bad news. You know, that's something you don't want to mess around with too much, man. So that's point number 5. Going on to point number 4 is don't skip cardio. And walking is super slept on. I'm not super crazy about cardio. Usually I'm just walking. That's a form of cardio, but a lot of people think, oh, it's just walking. Oh, that's not going to do anything. No, walking can change your life, especially if you're doing it every single day. See, most people are not getting enough steps in. And when you walk, your appetite doesn't shoot through the roof. You see a lot of people, they hit really intense cardio, and now they want to eat everything in sight after they work out. But when you walk 30 minutes, or even if you take like a 10-15 minutes walk after you eat, that will change your body, dog. And you will feel so much better. And then you don't have to worry about it getting injured or getting hurt. Cause I always see this, man. I always see it, guys haven't worked out in the longest and now they want to go run 5-10 miles. Oh, walking's too easy. That's for, you know, and that's how a lot of people look at it. Like, walking's not training. Walking's for like old people and yada, yada, yada. But it's like the bang for your buck is really walking. And then I always tell you guys this, like, when you're going on walks, just do other things. Have a podcast plan. Talk to people on the phone. You know, call somebody you haven't talked to in a while that you've been meaning to talk to. Whatever it may be. Use that time, dog. You can do other things while you're walking. You know, I've seen a lot of guys say, hey, Cole, I watch your YouTube videos when I'm on the treadmill. I put the incline on, walk on the treadmill for 30 minutes before I get in my lifting. Whatever it may be. Some people like to cool down. Some people like to warm up. But make sure you're walking. People in today's world do not get enough steps. So that would transform your body, and it doesn't take too much effort. It doesn't take much effort at all, especially the people that don't like doing cardio. Usually, I walk every single day, and then I'll hit the bag like once a week, you know? Going on to point number 3 is stay below 14% body fat. And I think a lot of people, they either underestimate their body fat percentage or they overestimate it. And even people in my comments before, they say, oh, Cole, you barely 14% body fat. And I'm definitely below 14% body fat. And anytime I get a scan or something like that, I always add a couple, you know, points to it. You know, I've gotten scans before that said I was 7%. I think the lowest I got was like 5%, or it might have even been 4%. So you can usually add a couple points to a scan, or even you can put in ChatGPT. I take a whole bunch of photos, send them into ChatGPT. Some of them flexing, some of them not flexing. Front photo, side photo, back photo. Hell, I'll even, you know, have my legs out, have my glutes out, everything. And I'll tell ChatGPT, I don't want you to be biased at all. Be real with me. Tell me what my body fat percentage is to the decimal. And I think last time I did it, it said like 9.8. You know, but I'll still have guys come online and say, oh, Cole, you're hardly 14% body fat. Usually it's like some older guy hating. It gets like that sometimes. But I'll say right now I'm probably like 11%. And that's with ChatGPT telling me I'm 9.8 or whatever it was. You know, so definitely you can use ChatGPT, dog. That gives you a pretty accurate number, I believe. It used to even do more. They kind of dialed back on ChatGPT. I think they're worried about people like overusing it, because I used to like, you could put somebody in ChatGPT and say, guess their height and guess their weight. And it would usually be pretty accurate, dog. Like I put myself in there and I say, guess my height, guess my weight. It said, okay, you between 5'11" to 6'1", and it guessed my weight between 180 to like 195 or something like that. But they don't do that anymore. They don't guess the height and the weight anymore. I guess they changed the you know, the rules and stuff, and they kind of dialed it back. But yeah, you could definitely use ChatGPT to see your body fat percentage, you know, but I think a lot of people, they overestimate it or they underestimate it. But you can get under 14% body fat. You know, everybody doesn't have to be single digit, be super peeled, but everybody should be below 14. And I'm firm on that, dog. Because it's the health benefits you get. Your physique looks so much better when you don't have a whole bunch of fat covering it. Like I've seen so many guys where they complain about their genetics. They say, oh, I'm not built for that. But it's like, dog, you just have fat covering your body. You know, I think the highest a man should be is 14%. And then the lowest for most guys is usually 8%. Usually not too many people can get below 8% and really be functioning at a high level. You know, for me, usually I get below 10. I can stay at 9% and feel good, but I really don't want to go below 9%. You know, at that point, it's not worth it. You know, there's a point where you can go too far, you know. Point number 2 is fix your posture. And this makes me think of the guy that was saying I'm hardly 14% body fat. And I don't mean to throw shots at gamers all the time, but it's like anytime I have a hate comment, a lot of times I click on the profile, I look at their account and they got like gaming videos up. That's why I just be talking shit about gamers a lot of times, because they come at me first. But even when I looked at this guy, like I looked at his video, he was like this. He was like this. And I've said this many times, no matter how good your physique looks, if you're walking around like this, dog, you're not going to look good. That doesn't look good. And even I've had to work on fixing my posture. I was always tight. And that's why I like doing more training with mobility, going through the full range of motion. I'll put my arms up in the doorway, stretch out my chest. I like to do dead hangs in the gym. Really open up your body, dog, because that will fuck up everything. You could have a nice physique, but if you're tight, if you're closed off, it doesn't matter. So even though this dude that was like, oh, you hardly 14% body fat, he was fairly lean. He's probably like 10%. He might have been like 9%. Even though he's lean, he has muscle, he has this hunchback. It's fucking everything up. It's fucking everything up. And I think a big part of that is he plays video games. Start looking at your posture when you're playing the game, when you're at work, whatever you're doing, when you're driving. When I worked a driving job for about 3 years, dog, and you know, I would catch myself kind of slumping over after a couple hours. You driving for 6, 7, 8 hours, you start to kind of hunch over. Make sure your posture is good, dog, because it's a game changer when it comes to your body language and when it comes to your physique. You will look completely different depending on how your posture is. And that's why a lot of guys are like, oh, the body game doesn't work for me, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, well, look at your posture. Many things play a factor in attraction. So you could have amazing physique, but if your body language is all types of fucked up, it doesn't matter. You could be 8, 9% body fat, but if you're hunched over, it doesn't matter. You look weird. And then point number 1 is don't skip leg day. I've seen so many guys, especially in the calisthenics space, a lot of guys don't hit legs whatsoever. And they just throw on joggers, they throw on baggy pants. And this is another thing when it comes to body language. If you have weak legs, you're gonna probably run into issues eventually. You're gonna start having back pain, you're gonna start running into some type of shit. Your legs are your foundation. You can't just overlook it because you don't feel like doing it. Even if you're doing some subtle stuff, dog, at least like once a week. You know, even when I've had, you know, a hamstring injury in the past, like I still would hit it occasionally. I still go through the movements. You don't have to go kill yourself, hit legs, but you gotta do something when it comes to legs. You know, do a little bit of squat, do a little bit of deadlift, RDLs, single leg. I like doing a lot of single leg stuff. Make sure you're hitting your calves. Don't skip that training, dog, because that's the base of everything. And I promise you, a lot of these guys, they start having a lot of pains, dog. Because I've known a lot of guys that never train legs whatsoever. Then next you know, they hurting their back, this hurts on them. Your whole foundation is weak. And eventually it's gonna come crashing down, man. So that's the 5 things that if you stick to, you will have that physique that turns her into a freak. But that's all I got for y'all today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll catch y'all boys in the next one.